Welcome in, brand new Jock Market Power Hour for this week's Hero World Challenge. I'm Rick Gaming, that right there, Joe Idoni. Joe, it's good to see you. Happy Wednesday night.
Good to see you too, man. Excited to do to cover a little golf, man. It's the last event of the year. We got 20 guys. We're in the Bahamas. It's pretty casual, but there's an IPO open, so I'm sure we'll get to about each and every player in the field over the next 30 or 40 minutes here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, as we get closer to 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is when this IPO is going to close, like we're going to have talked about every single golfer. We're going to talk about some strategy. We're going to talk about some new stuff coming from Jock Market. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns you want to throw in the chat, we can address those too. But you mentioned it here, Joe. There's only 20 golfers. So that kind of changes the payout structure a little bit. Does it change your strategy of how you plan on attacking this board tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Just given the amount of variables and the different players that are in is about cut in terms of like 8x the normal field size. So yeah, I'll adjust a little bit, try to be a little bit more selective, stick to my normal strategy of developing a ranking. It's not too difficult with 20 guys in the field, and then essentially figuring out a target price for each player and seeing where they're at toward the end of the IPO and in relativity to that.
Yeah, fair enough. We are playing in the Jock Market. It's stock market DFS. Right now is the IPO. It's going to last for about another 45 minutes or so. So you can bid on shares of golfers. And at 9 o'clock Eastern, if you're one of the high bidders, those shares are allocated to you. Joe, we have been with Jock Market since inception, and we have seen all of these, improvements along the way, adding shorting, then adding IPO shorting and offering new sports and offering new types of contests. And there is a new type of contest for golf out right now, which I can explain in a second, but this is just the constant evolution of this little part of the industry that is still so young.
Yeah, like you mentioned, continuing to evolve, continuing to innovate. And what they essentially did this week is developed a contest structure where instead of everyone being able to join the IPO hour, it's limited to 20 players. There's an entry fee. Each player is going to start out with $1,000 in chips. So everyone's at square one. And, the highest earning, I believe, 5 positions. Is that correct? Will pay out at the end of it?
Yeah, correct. So I should clarify, this is in addition to the regular cash market. So there's the regular cash market where you can just go and enter and buy any number of shares that you want or whatever. There's the free market. And then there is this $50 entry contest, which is limited to 20 people. And as Joe mentioned, you get the 1,000 starting chips to build your portfolio. Top 5 payout, 5th gets your money back, 1st gets $425. This feels like, the Jock Market has been, quite honestly, from our perspective, the barrier has been education, right? It's been teaching people about a brand new format. This feels like a way to get a lot more people involved who just want to bite off a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I think, a more familiar structure to people. I think that some people, there is a general misperception that when you're in the IPO, you're sort of, when you first start out, you use hopefully the promo code below on your first deposit, but that you're swimming with a bunch of sharks, right? You're in a contest with people who are pouring thousands of dollars into this contest, which could sort of mitigate your success ratio, which we've talked about time and time again, simply isn't true. Everyone has an equal shot, no matter how much that you put in. But this is just, I think, an easier concept for new players, for beginners, and frankly, I think a fun new additional concept for seasoned vets who are just looking for a different way to try and isolate a little bit of value in the different markets and fields.
Right. Like if you wanted to play $50 in Jock Market this week, you would have to decide in the cash market kind of how to allocate that. Should I bid on, should I get 4 shares of John Rahm? What should I do? This is just, hey, we're going to enter. Everybody's going to start with 1,000 chips and we're going to rock and roll from there. So exciting times. This is open right now. There is a cash market as well. There's a free market as well. I'm seeing the bids come in from Harpua on Tony Finau and Jordan Spieth bids from T-Fla 321. It's all happening right now live, Joe. And as you mentioned, that code you want, it's power. There's a link in the description. It'll get you a deposit bonus. It's just seemingly all the time there's something new coming to the Jock Market, which is kind of what you want from the operators.
Yeah, continuing to do new things, which I think this is an idea that we've talked about a while ago, and credit to them for continuing to implement like new things that people are giving them feedback from us included to the other different users. It's a new sort of fun way to play and just kind of check it out. If you're new to the contest, start with 1,000 chips. You can put it all on John Rahm, or you can sprinkle it across the board on 15, 20 players. So the strategy, I think, in that sense, will continue to evolve as well, since this is a fairly new element that they're sort of introducing here.
Not to get off on a tangent, but you know what I would like to see? And I'm going to just throw this idea out there, knowing that I do not have to make it come to fruition, right? Like that's somebody else's problem. Well, I'm just going to,
we're best at, right?
Right. I'm just going to throw this out there and have it be somebody else's problem. I would like to see contests that have a fixed IPO price. And then once the event starts, trading happens as it is. So basically on Monday morning, I could buy as many shares of John Rahm as I want, know that I get those shares, not have to be involved in a bidding process. I want to see a fixed price IPO at some point.
Interesting. So they could kind of just go off the fair value projections in a sense, right?
Correct. Right. And obviously I am selfish because as a content creator, it's a lot easier for me on Monday or Tuesday to say, wow, John Rahm at 1032. Nope, I'm out. I'll take my chances in the cash market. Or, oh, John Rahm at 855. Yeah, I'm in. I'm going to get some now because I think he's going to be more expensive than that in the cash market.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And that's a concept that we're familiar with in different other fantasy formats as well. And, you know, we're kind of crunched in this 45-minute span here where sort of all the action happens. Right. And that way you can kind of spread it out over the 3 full days and, you know, have a better, I think, opportunity to sort of really strategize and you know, look at stats versus I think this is one of the cool aspects of it is it all happens lightning quick. It's so fast during this IPO, but it also kind of presents a challenge, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, there you go. That's the idea. Now it's somebody else's problem. So go to take that for what it's worth. With only 20 golfers in the field this week, Joe, obviously that is going to change the payout structure. So the way that it's set up right now, 14th or better is going to get over $1 per share in return. Those bottom 6 spots, 15 through 20, those are like your missed cut spots, the dollar payout at the end. So just kind of adjusting the way things are happening. The top of the board is 25 for first, 20 for second, 16 for third, 12 and 10 for the top 5. So obviously something that we want to keep in mind as those bids are coming in tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the an important thing that I kind of looked at is right there at Colin Morikawa is the $4 projected payout. Everyone in last year's IPO for the Hero World Challenge, is it Challenge or Classic? It's Challenge. Challenge. Everyone went for over $4 in IPO. So I think that that's kind of your barrier versus the lowest price guy. In a sense, you're going to need him to top 10 if you want to get him for $4 a share. I think we probably see something similar. Interestingly, I think last year things were pretty spread out at the top. We didn't have like a huge high $12 bid. We only had one player over $9.50, and that was Justin Thomas, who barely cleared that $10 mark that you see there. Still was able, of course, to return you an ROI, as well as Colin Morikawa at number 2. So I do think that you know, between $10 and $4 is probably the range that we see almost every player in this field end up paying out if it's anything like last year.
Yeah, this data and all the other markets are available on my website, RickRunGood.com. It's free. Go to more free tools, click on Jock Market. You can download it. You can mess around with it. You can do everything that you want. And this kind of goes back, Joe, to the point that there's so many good golfers here, right? Yeah. I mean, every single golfer inside the top, I think it's 35 in the world ranking. So 20 of the top 35 players in the world. And when we get a situation like that, you rarely see the one guy who goes up to $12, right? It's not having a single star like John Rahm in Mexico. There's just a lot of guys that people can back here.
Absolutely. I think this event's pretty casual in a sense. I think for even the players, there's not a lot of fans there. It's kind of in the middle of the off season. I don't want to say the words hit and giggle because I've heard it used a lot, but it's not, they don't take it as seriously in terms of preparation. So I do think makes just about everyone live. Like last year, Henrik Stenson was kind of the anomaly in the field. This year, it's probably Kevin Kisner is like the guy that you know is expected to be not at the talent level of the rest of the players. But I think anyone else, even last year from like 1 to 19, there's an avenue where they can show up and win this thing in the middle of December.
Yeah, like there's, yeah, maybe Kevin Kisner aside, maybe Sepp Straka. I would not be surprised if 18 of these guys won the golf tournament.
Yeah,
Right?
if Homa or Connors wins, like we're not going to be like that's crazy.
Right. All right, Joe, let's start going through some of these guys. I think we can just probably skip bullish or bearish, considering we're going to talk about every single player in the field here. So let's just dive right in. The top of the board is Jon Rahm. The fair value we have for him tonight is 942. He's the number one pre-ranked golfer, so he's going to break all ties. He needs to finish about 5th or better to return a profit based on his fair value. You look at the results here on the right-hand side. He's been a winner in 3 of his last 4 cash markets. This does not show the 2 recent DP World Tour victories. So he's probably playing even better than what this ROI is suggesting.
Absolutely is. Those 2 victories, I think, he was on the cusp for a while and trending in the right direction, but I think breaking through on those two wins there, obviously the Open d'Espagne and the DP World Tour Championship are 2 big wins. They're 2 important wins for Jon Rahm, and I think they're just confidence builders coming into this offseason that we have to pay attention to tonight. Obviously, the top 5 at the CJ Cup sort of mixed in between. So he's played some of these guys we haven't seen very much since the President's Cup. He's not only played, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 top 5 finishes since then. So he's in very good form. Probably, with Rory not here, I think that everyone would agree that he's probably the best player in the field as of right now, the favorite, which is why he's projected number 1. I'm kind of bullish there, man. If it's 938, I don't mind getting to $10 on Rahm.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there's he's won this event. He's finished runner-up at. I mean, yeah, of course, all of it is there. I am interested to see because, like, we're talking about it right now, and everybody who's watching and everybody who's been following along and paying close attention understands that he's been playing on the DP World Tour and he's been playing well. But for people who are just following on the PGA Tour, like, he didn't have that great of a season, and I'm wondering if there's just 10% of Jon Rahm that is flying under the radar a little bit, which is going to keep that price just enough in check where you're going to be able to get him at, that, what was that fair value? 942. Like, I'll just sign up for that right now.
Yep. Same here.
Scotty Scheffler's next. Second pre-ranked golfer. Fair value on him tonight, 877. Same thing. He's got to finish about 5th or so to turn you a profit. The tee to green stuff from Scotty Scheffler is nothing short of elite. The only concerns are around the flat stick, but even in weeks that he has struggled putting, Joe, he's returned you a profit. In Houston, he finishes T9, wins you a little bit. Mayakoba, he almost wins, finishes T3. That's a 71% ROI. So Scotty Scheffler, I don't know if he's worth 877 tonight, but certainly someone that, again, wouldn't be at all surprised to see win this golf tournament.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them win. He's so talented. Obviously, his run came earlier in the year, and then it was a little bit of fall off. The concerning part to me is exactly what you said around the green in putting. I think this isn't important around the green week. I think obviously it's going to come down to the putter to win. 2 areas of which he struggled, 2 areas which we've really seen like in the last 5 starts. Jon Rahm totally turned around. The early in the season, Rahm couldn't chip and putt. He's got that back figured out. They're both incredible ball strikers. They're both really good off the tee, but one's trending in a much better direction in and around the green surfaces. I feel much better about Rahm than I do Scheffler, and I probably feel even better about some of those guys in the $7 fair value range, better than I do about Scotty this week. What about you?
Okay, well, because let's talk about some of those guys in the $7 range. And Matt Fitzpatrick, I love that he got the 3rd pre-rank. That's how we break ties here, Joe, as you know. And in golf, if 5 guys tie for 2nd, the guys with the higher pre-ranks are going to get the full shares. And with the gaps in the payouts, I think it's even more important this week. So Matt Fitzpatrick gets the 3rd pre-rank, which is splendid. And this is now a guy who is contending with the game's elite. I kind of want guys who have been playing all year long, Joe. This is going to be his 7th start since the Tour Championship. Some of these guys have taken a lot of time off. Not Matty Fitzpatty. He's getting the job done all over the globe.
Yeah. No doubt about it. He's one of the guys that I like this week. I love the fact that he is proficient in and around the greens. I love the fact that I think that he's best and most efficient on the Bermuda grass surfaces. Down there in the Bahamas, should be familiar with, the grass types and all that similar stuff. Plus, he's playing really well. And you mentioned the pre-rank. Like, if we get a four-way, let's just say a three-way tie for second this week, and he's tied with Victor Hovland and Justin Thomas, there's an $8 gap there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many payouts from $20 per share to $12 per share from second to fourth. And he will break all those tiebreakers for everybody except Scheffler and Rahm in the entire field. So I do think it's even more important this week. I think it's noteworthy. I think you should pay attention to it. And I think that it just makes him even more valuable given where his fair value projection currently is.
The defending champ, Victor Hovland, 760 is his fair value. That's about sixth or better. Winner in two of his last three cash marks. Another guy, Joe, who's been playing all over the globe, been playing a lot of golf. This is going to be his last event of the calendar year, and he's going to try to put a title defense together here.
Yeah, your boy crushes the Caribbean vibes too.
He loves it down there. He loves a good tropical location.
Loves the good tropical location. Exactly what you said. Really good at Mayakoba. Was good to see him sort of bounce back there. We didn't have strokes gain data. T5 at the Zozo over there. It's been a little bit inconsistent, I think it's fair to say, from Victor. I'm not necessarily sure where I'm at on him this week. I wouldn't say I'm totally out on it. I think it's price dependent come down the stretch, but I will say that 760, 759 feels a little bit on the higher end of probably where I would want to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty fair on Victor. We're not seeing the elite ball striking statistically that we have seen from him in the past. But what I think is why he does well in these tropical spots is because you usually get a sustained 18-mile-an-hour wind, and he never misses the center of the club face, which I think is certainly valuable when you get to some of these spots. But he's plugged the gap in the short game. Obviously, he's going to have plenty of good vibes around Albany. I'm like very fair on Victor. If I get shares at $7.60, great. I'm probably not going to step into the eights on him. If I get anything 750 or below, I'm probably pretty happy on it. And again, that's another pretty good pre-rank when you consider the guy right behind him, Tony Finau, is like maybe the hottest guy on the planet, and Victor gets the edge in the pre-rank.
Yeah, I love Finau. The only knock that I may have here is that you look at a little bit of the course history stuff from last year, and he didn't play great. I think that he finished. Where did he finish? Like 13th or 14th last year. Looks like I have him
for T7, T10 runner up in his last three.
Oh, wow. I must have missed the runner up there in 2018. So not as bad as I thought. Obviously, you mentioned probably the hottest guy on the planet. All the confidence in the world has seemingly come pouring in on Tony. He's gained strokes with the putter in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive events, not measuring the one that we didn't have strokes gain data for. So 7 of the last 10, is that it? 6 of the last 10. It's hard to really ignore, and almost a 36% ROI on average. You see those big spikes there, which is what you're looking for. I think particularly like if you're in that $50 contest and you want to try to get first place, you need the winner. You need the winner, and you need to have a lot of chips on the winner. I don't think he's a bad place to go.
Max Homa, sixth in the pre-rank, 731, 6.7 is his fair value finishing position. I will admit Max Homa falls into the category of shoulder shrug, right? I don't particularly know what to do with Max. I think from a 10,000 foot view, he's turned himself into a well-rounded, great golfer who can contend basically anywhere. But this is the first start since having a baby. Who knows how much practice he's gotten in? I don't know, Joe. You got any like hot takes on this?
I guess it's a semi-hot take would be, I don't think that I'm not factoring in not practicing as much with the baby. I don't think a lot of these guys have practiced to their normal practice schedule. It's the off season for a lot of them. So I think it came at the perfect time for Max, right after he got a victory, right after he was in the President's Cup. There's been a few weeks here where he can kind of tune things back up. And I think that this is the type of place that he can show up with not a lot of pressure on him. And we've seen like, there's a certain, there's just like a stigma around the event. Like I think young players who seriously look up to Tiger Woods, like put a little bit more emphasis in this. I think that we saw it with Victor last year, how he was super excited to win it. It's obviously Max's idol, as it's been with a number of these guys. So I do think it would be a nice way to sort of finish off his year to get that trophy from Tiger. And he's just playing great. His pre-rank is high, though. I will say that, like, in comparison to where he's at on the betting markets or some other fantasy markets, he's definitely priced accordingly. And in the mid sevens, I think is a little bit too high, but I don't really think he gets there.
Yeah, a couple of disrespectful pre-ranks here. Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas next. We'll start with the X-Man. Here's one of those guys that we just haven't seen, Joe. Just the one start since the Tour Championship. It was the Zozo. He got you 5% ROI thanks to a T9. We know it's a no-cut event. We know he's got all the skills. This is just like, I haven't heard much one way or another about Xander this week.
Neither have I. I don't know what to do. I'm on Justin though. Like I'll be happy with shares of Justin Thomas in the low $7 range. He's my pick to win. I think he was over $10 per share last year. I don't think that he was playing significantly better last year. I don't think things have been nearly as bad as they may appear in terms of his recent finishing positions. I think it's close. Obviously with JT, it's all dependent on the putter, but that can flip with him, as we've seen pretty drastically from week to week. Some time to get off and get right. I think it's a good little spot for him.
8th is the Justin Thomas pre-rank, $7.08, the fair value for him. Shane Lowry, another guy who's been playing a lot on the DP World Tour. He's the 9th pre-ranked golfer. His fair value tonight, $662. So now you're asking him to finish about 7th or better in a field of 20. And this 5 out of 6 losses doesn't tell the whole story for Shane Lowry. He was a winner at the BMW PGA Championship. So you got to take the whole thing into perspective here for guys who have been playing across the pond.
Yeah, and the big one, the mystery to me, and I'll lean on you to steer me in one direction or the other. The guy right under him, I think he came into this event, if I'm not mistaken, the #1 player in the world last year.
No, he was. If a win would have made him the #1 player.
Okay.
He had a 6-shot lead on Sunday.
Yes, I know that.
Punted it and never got to #1. Could you imagine if he never gets the #1 player in the world?
And I think he finished 5th. He didn't even end up in 2nd last year.
He was, I think if he would have shot even par, he would have been in a playoff.
Yeah,
and
something happened.
It never happened.
Yeah. And it was kind of, he underperformed the entire year, I think, based on his expectation, based on our expectation. Anything you've seen from a data-wise, a stat-wise, hearing some things that would lead you to believe that he's going to turn it around and have a rebound year?
There's like a lot of layers of the Colin Morikawa onion right now.
Clubs.
The new club, right? So first off, I love the whole like, oh my God, the worst year of his life. He can't hit the ball anymore. He was 3rd in strokes gained approach last year. Like he's a freaking flusher. It doesn't even matter. The fact that he is a bad putter but can pop is why he wins so often. Now you throw in, he just got married. He just changed his clubs for the first time in 5 years. He's using the new TaylorMades. Like I'm pretty bullish on him. He like posted something on Instagram or retweeted something out where I think there's a little chip on his shoulder. For the first time, he didn't have a good year by his own expectations. And now he goes back to the scene of the crime to get a little revenge. Like I think this could be a pretty solid week for him. And obviously I think he's going to have a great year.
Where do you stand on the importance of I guess keeping it in the fairway off the tee and like reining in your misses, because it's obviously a strength of his. Would you label this sort of a bomb and gouge type track? Is it wide? Is it generous off the fairways, or is it more tight?
So distance usually helps. It's fine off the tees. If you miss more wildly, you're going to be in the sand stuff. The one thing that I guess is a little bit concerning, there's not a ton of evidence that Colin Morikawa is a great wind player. That's just like more anecdotal than anything. But I'm hoping that like Friday seems to be the worst. I think Thursday is going to be pretty good. The course will lay down. The weekend, I think there'll be pretty good scoring. So I'm again just pretty optimistic about his ability to get the ball out there, flush it, and then try to get hot with the putter for 2 days.
Yep. Okay.
Tom Kim, here he is. 11th in the pre-rank, $6.34. Let's see. Winner in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 7 cash markets. If you want to go back further than that, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triple-digit returns since the AT&T Byron Nelson. He's going to be popular in a lot of fantasy formats, Joe. Is he going to be increasingly popular here tonight?
I think so. I'm high on him. I like the fact, much like Victor, where I think he comes into this thing motivated, excited to play in this, isn't necessarily rushing back to the boat for a pina colada after every round.
He's probably not even old enough to drink, is he? What's the drinking age in the Bahamas?
I think you can get 18 there.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure he'll have a good time, but I'm sure everyone will. My point being that I think that he's going to have a lot of focus and attention coming into this week. Great caddy on the bag. Ricky's won this thing before. Joe's been there a bunch of times. It feels like I don't know. It feels like I don't expect him to like all of a sudden not start playing well. I feel like he's going to have probably a top 8-9 finish, in which case, $8 is right around the asking price there.
Sung Jae, 12th in the pre-rank, $6.27. He's been a loser in 2 straight cash markets, but the run before that was nothing short of incredible. We haven't seen him since the CJ Cup, Joe. Now it's time for Sung Jae to get back into action here. And I feel like with where Tom Kim is kind of being offered up, with where Tommy Fleetwood, who we're going to talk about in a second, is being offered up, I feel like Sung Jae could go overlooked tonight.
I agree. That's my one hesitation on Tom Kim is I think Sung Jae is a better player and he's cheaper and he's less popular. But I think of those 3, Sung Jae M is going to be the most consistent throughout the year. He's the best ball striker. I do think that if he's a lower price than Kim by a significant margin, that people will be excited to scoop some up.
Tommy Fleetwood's next, 13th in the pre-rank, asking him to finish about 8th or better for $6.13 per share. Again, not getting the full picture here, though he's been a winner in 3 of his last 4 cash markets. If you look at his recent results, which are a T4 at the CJ Cup, a win in South Africa at the Nedbank Golf Challenge, and then a 5th place finish at the DP World Tour Championship over the last 12 rounds, Joe, he's one of the hottest players on I shouldn't say the tour, on earth.
Good Lord. Almost 20 strokes ball striking gained in the last 2 events.
Silly.
That's outrageous. DP World Tour Championship 12.14 ball striking.
And remember, they told us how many top 20 players in the world were there. 7 of them, and he gained 10 strokes on approach in that field.
Yeah, if he could have if he would have putted level, he probably would have won. I like him coming in this week. I feel like Tommy's a form player. When he's got it going, he's going to have his ups and downs. But right now he's in a run where he's back to doing what he does best, and that's strike the hell out of the ball and hit it close to pins.
Jordan Spieth, 14th in the pre-rank, $6.04. Here's the guy, Joe. Here's the guy that I have no idea where he's going to finish. I think he could win it. He's got that 5-0 President's Cup. He didn't play well at the CJ Cup, didn't play particularly well at the Tour Championship. Has won this event, has finished dead last at this event. I think if you were trying to build a volatile portfolio, Spieth should be the anchor of your volatile portfolio.
You're probably right. I'm not that interested. But that's all could change very late. I will say heading into last year's Hero, where he obviously had the situation where he teed off from the wrong tee box and it just kind of spiraled from there. He was out of it. He didn't seem to be taking it too seriously, and the results indicated such. I think did feel something return at the President's Cup in terms of a little bit of fire. The putter seemed to start working for him. I wish he would have had a better finish off the heels of that in South Carolina. I'm not entirely bullish on him. I'll probably look elsewhere depending on the price.
All right, so now we get to the 15th pre-rank. So these are the guys that are pre-ranked in that $1 minimum payout range. The bottom 6 is what I'm referring to. So Billy Horschel starts us off $6.18 a share. That's asking him to finish about 8th or better to beat that. Billy Ho hasn't played this event in 7 years. He's coming off probably one of the better years of his career, Joe. The win at the Memorial, earning a spot on the President's Cup team, played well at the CJ Cup a couple of weeks ago. Where do we stand on Billy Ho?
I don't really know. I don't really have a hot take either way on him. I know that there's 2 guys under there, which the pre-ranks are just off on.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with Sam Burns.
I bet Sam Burns to win.
18th pre-rank. He actually probably should have won this last year if he didn't. I think is this the place where he triple chipped it back down the hill? Yeah, and it just kept coming back to his feet and still finished.
That's
second?
The one. It might have been third.
Might have been third. Okay. Speaking of the picture of volatilities throughout the year, you see cuts of there, you see withdrawals, but you also see a lot of victories. Golly, if the fair value, pretty much everyone right now is still at that IPO price of $1. I think that's probably due to the fact that there's so little players in the field that it's not hard to scroll. Everyone's just going to wait till the end to bid. I like Sam Burns. I think he goes for probably in the $6.50 to $7 range, which is well above that $4.64.
I like I said, I bet him. I think I got him at 20-1. He's coming off the worst putting performance of his life. He's very good on Bermuda. He should have won here. Give me Sam Burns. I've grown on Corey Connors a little bit. So I was kind of just looking into okay, these longer courses, he tends to find a lot of success on. He's a much better putter than people realize. He's actually a small positive putter now. And we haven't seen a ton of great stuff, but it's getting a little bit better. This is the spot I want Corey Connors. I would not bet Corey Connors to win. I'm not sure I want to play him in a lot of other fantasy formats, but at a $4.91 fair value for him to finish basically inside the top half of this field, this is the format I want my Corey Connors in.
Yep, and it can only go up. Give me Connors 3 back on Sunday here and let him go shoot a 65. Sure. It feels like he's got that in him. Would you, in terms of ranking the 3 that are right there, which I'm a little torn on. So it's Horschel, Cameron Young, Corey Connors. How would you, if you had to rank those 3 players, how would you sort them?
Probably Horschel, Connors, Young.
Young last?
Yeah, I just listen. The next 12 months of Cam Young, give me that, right? Yeah. But the next 4 days where he's struggled driving it coming in, he's not gaining that 4, 5, 6 strokes off the tee again. It's just he's struggling in some of those areas. Maybe it's been this is a lot of golf. Some of these guys are playing the most golf they've ever played in a year, and he might just need some time. I think I'll take a pass on Cam Young for the next 4 days, but the next 4 years I'm all in.
Yep. I like that.
And then finally the 2 that we were kind of poking at here, Sepp Straka, who got into this field after Tiger Woods withdrew, $3.60 is his fair value. That's 10th or better. Kevin Kisner, $2.94, 11th or better. At least Straka has significant upside. A couple of runner-up finishes here recently, but horrible before that, horrible after that. It's a lot harder to make a case for Kevin Kisner.
Yeah. Swing change, coaching change in the midst of both of those right now as well for Kisner. Just the numbers have been bad. Straka's have been bad too. A couple courses, he had those 2 runner-up finishes, and there were spots where I thought, okay, this is a good spot for Straka. The RSM I thought was a good spot for Straka. The CJ Cup I thought might be a good spot, coming off a little bit of confidence, and miscut to sort of bring it in. So another player that's very volatile, ups and downs, seems to play his best on Bermuda grass, but kind of so does Kiz. So I don't really know what to do with either one of them, but I think they're probably the 2 guys that you may have to just plug your nose and kind of ignore at the bottom here. Everyone else I feel like could be live.
The longer the course gets, the worse Kisner gets.
Does that play out in the numbers?
Yeah.
Because he's said that. He's been open about, but he also said, I remember him saying, I hate POA. I never putt well on POA. And then you looked at the data and he was best on POA.
Well, I can tell you for sure he's right about. So I was looking at this earlier. So 7,400. So I think it's 7,414 on the scorecard.
Okay.
So I just plugged.
So that's long at sea level. That's long.
Yeah, he is. So this is golf courses the last 4 years, 7,400 yards or longer. He is the only guy losing strokes to the field, and he is losing a ton, a stroke per round. And it's just like,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's horrendous. It's horrible. Even Tom Kim, who is like not long at all, and Tom Kim has half the rounds Kevin Kisner does, but Tom Kim's a stroke and a quarter better, and Tom Kim's short off the tee.
Yeah.
Just struggles. So
who's the best? Who was the best there?
John Rahm.
Okay.
Yeah. Rahm Shoffley, Thomas Finau, Sungjae, believe it or not. Sungjae's very good with like long irons and hitting like 3-wood into green. Like he just never misses the center of the club face.
He doesn't have a big miss.
No. Yeah. And then like on long golf courses where everyone's missing greens, he has a great short game. So he makes up for it there. So it's like, that makes sense that Sungjae's in the top 5 on long golf courses.
Wouldn't that be nice? You mentioned that with Victor to just like rip the center of the club face every time. When I hit the center of the club face, it's like an anomaly, but I usually overshoot the green by like 15 yards because I'm playing to not hit it. That's how often that happens.
Twice a year I hit the center of the club face.
Yeah,
it feels
right.
great.
It feels so good.
We're playing stock market DFS. We're in the Jock market. It's 8:52 p.m. Eastern time. So we've got about 8 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less until this market closes. You can get involved. The code you're looking for is POWER. It'll get you a $100 deposit bonus. There is not only a cash market where you can go and buy as many or as few shares of golfers as you want. There is also a free contest if you want to get involved without putting anything up. And then there's also a $50 entry contest where you can just pay $50, get your 1,000 starting chips and make all the trades you want. And then have payouts for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Joe, as everyone expected, Sepp Straka is out to the lead as the most expensive golfer.
There we go. We'll see how long that lasts. Rahm at 102. You're going to see things get pretty fast and furious over the next 6 minutes here. I'm going to try to get in both. So I'm in the $50 contest for anyone else that's in there. And I'm going to try to take your guys' money, and then we'll see what we can do in the other contest. So those things are going to change very quickly here. I see some sharks swimming around. I see our boy Austin in here. So Rahm's going to get there.
Yeah, things are happening now. Rahm's moving a little bit. We'll figure it out. Would it just be the absolute like? I always think of it like a roulette spin when you don't hit anything and they just wipe the board, right? It's like the house just takes everything. If Kevin Kisner or Sepp Straka were to win this golf tournament, it would just be the roulette wipe.
It's tempting. I was actually looking at Kisner today because he's 100-1, and I'm like, God, that's 20 men. Like things could happen.
Someone asked me that in the live chat, and the sim that I ran, he won it 1.5% of the time, which is like 80-1. So if you're getting like 100, you're kind of getting the right side of it.
Yeah, he's a great putter. So weird things happen with great putters. I don't know. We'll see how things go.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go because it is 8:54. You've got a couple of contests. So what we'll do is Joe will go and he's going to play in the cash market. He's going to play in that $50 entry. We'll rendezvous and check with him in a few minutes to see what he ended up getting and what's in his portfolio. And you can let us know in the chat what ends up being in your portfolio as well. But the next few minutes we know are going to be hot and heavy. They're always very heated in the final few minutes of IPO. And when you only have 20 golfers and there hasn't been much movement, it is going to get very mature very, very quickly. So you can put in your maximum bid as a proxy bid. So if right now you want to put in a bid on $9 on John Rahm, Jock Market will move you up as needed until it gets to your amount, and then it'll let it go. So you can kind of put in your proxy bids along the way. If you want to get involved, the code you're looking for is POWER. There's a link in the description. Get you your deposit bonus. Let me see if we've got any. Yeah, here we go. So now we're going. So John Rahm off and running. $6.99 for the number one pre-ranked golfer. That's right now. His fair value, which is based on his outright number, his top 5 number, all that. It's a mathematical equation to say what is his fair value position. That's 5.3, fifth place. And then his fair value, $9.36 a share. He is still about $2.50 below that, but I imagine he's going to get there very, very shortly. Matt Fitzpatrick with a very generous, very strong pre-rank of third is $5.99 with Sam Burns, an unfortunate pre-rank already over his fair value. So that's what we were talking about. The fair value was wrong on Sam Burns. I think he's much more valuable than 18th out of 20. He's already over his fair value for tonight. And there's a little bit of run here on Billy Horschel, who's $4.09, Tommy Fleetwood, who's $3.50, and Xander Schauffele, who's $3.33. I'm going to refresh this frequently because I think it's going to change a lot here. 8:55 p.m. Eastern time. We've got a couple of minutes. Yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick now over $6. Here comes the run on Justin Thomas. JT is your your eighth pre-ranked golfer, your third most expensive at the moment. He's $1 short of his fair value, 701. That fair value would ask him to finish seventh or better in a field of 20. He's at $5.99. Sungjae Im, now the fourth most expensive golfer, $5.76. We were talking about Sungjae a little bit earlier. Does great on these long golf courses. This is a golf course where the stats correlate a lot to around the green play. Sungjae's phenomenal. He's got every single shot. No surprise there. Tommy Fleetwood and Colin Morikawa are next, 559 and 537. Look at this down at the bottom of the board real quick. It's not going to last long. Max Homa is still $1 per share. Scotty Scheffler, 202. No love for Scotty. Let's give it a refresh and see if we can get a little bit of movement on Scheffler because I think it's going to happen here.
I got him number one now.
Okay, yeah. I think John Rahm just scooped him right back up here.
Okay, yep, he did.
Okay, John Rahm, $9.49. So he's over his fair value. Last year, 1001 was the most expensive that we saw on any golfer. That was Justin Thomas. I bet you John Rahm is going to beat that tonight. JT, 728, and Scotty Scheffler. There's that big move. So that's a $5 jump just in the course of the last minute or two for Scotty Scheffler, up to $7.25. And Tony Finau is back in the mix at $6. That is the same price as Matt Fitzpatrick. Again, I'm just going to refresh this as often as possible because we are seeing massive movements in the market. John Rahm going for that $10 mark, not there just yet, but very, very close. $9.88 per share. If we flip this around and look at the pre-ranked golfers, top five pre-ranked, the cheapest one you can get right now, your defending champion, $5.99. Victor Hovland, just a penny short of Matt Fitzpatrick at $6. The cheapest top 10 golfer that you can get, Max Homa. 6 in the pre-rank, $4.66. His fair value tonight is $7.30. So he's nowhere near that at the moment. Looking down at the bottom of the board, Sepp Straka, Kevin Kisner, Jordan Spieth. Interesting stuff there. Let's give this a little bit of a refresh. Remember, Jordan's won this event. He's finished dead last in this event. He's finished runner-up, I believe. I think he's finished 18th out of 20. He was 5-0 at the President's Cup. I have no idea what we're going to get out of Jordan Spieth this week, but I think it's going to be fun to watch. A little bit of movement here on JT. $7.28 has not caught Tony Finau yet. He's $7.33. Xander to $6.99. And here's Tom Kim settling right in there with Sungjae Im at $5.76. In fact, 3 golfers with Colin Morikawa right there at $5.76. Shane Lowry, Corey Connors, Cam Young, Billy Horschel, all below the $5 mark with Jordan Spieth, Kevin Kisner, and Sepp Straka. This thing is catching a lot of heat right now. I've got 858 and I got 859. Just turned 859. So this thing is going to close at any moment. The big question marks now are, will John Rahm get through the $10 mark? As of right now, the answer is no. Scotty Scheffler at 825, the second pre-ranked golfer. He's still 50 cents short of his fair value. Tony Finau nearly at his. JT is over his. Xander's got 40 cents to go. Fitzpatrick's got 75 cents to go. Victor's got $1.50 to go. The fourth pre-ranked golfer sitting at 628 is the defending champion. A little bit of a gap from Victor to the guys in the $5 range. That's Fleetwood and Sungjae and Tommy and Colin Morikawa. We got to be seconds away from this closing, so I'm going to refresh it one more time.
Closed. We are closed.
Oh, boy. Okay. I knew it had to be close. We were right up on it. Yeah. Okay. I see it closed now. Ooh, man. We went from nothing at like 8:53 to everything at 9 o'clock. Wow.
How about see if I can pull these over here.
Yeah,
Did Rahm finish the highest, correct?
I'm waiting for mine to refresh, but I'd be very certain that he did. I'm just waiting for my board to refresh here.
Okay, cool. I just pulled mine over. I got some Rahm shares at 988, which is probably the highest.
Were you going back and forth between? Yeah, it is. Were you going back and forth between the cash market and the contest?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. The contest was interesting though because I'm trying to figure it out. So I believe.
Wait, hold on. Look at this. Breaking news. Breaking news. A bid on Kevin Kisner from Tour Picks 2 minutes ago.
There it is.
You can't hide it. You can't hide it. We see it.
Breaking news. Kiss is in the portfolio.
All right, hold on. Before we get to that, let me just make sure I have. Okay, I got everything. So how do you want to do this? Do you want to tell us who you got in the cash market, or did you want to tell us who you got in the contest? The contest is very much. I mean, you're gonna have to pay attention to that all week long.
Yeah, let's do the contest first.
All right, let's do the contest.
I got 4 guys. I got the majority of my portfolio is in JT and Fleetwood.
Okay.
And then I have Burns and Kisner are my other 2.
Got it. So that's
not great pre-rank wise for me. I kind of took the dinger on the pre-rank with JT being 8, Fleetwood at 13, Burns at 18, Kisner at 20. But we'll see if they can outperform some expectations there. In the IPO market, let's see what I got over here. Okay, so I got Rom at 988. I have shares of Sungjae Im at 576. Tommy Fleetwood at 583 and Shane Lowry at 504, which I thought was I don't know. I thought that was a good price on Lowry. It looks like it's about $1.50 under his fair value projection, which always feels good.
Yeah, he's been great. So Joe in the contest, JT, Fleetwood, Burns, Kisner. In the IPO, Rom, Sungjae, Fleetwood, and Lowry. That is the portfolio there from Joe. If you want to get involved, the code is POWER. Link in the description. Get your deposit bonus. Here is the final pricing. John Rahm in a tier by himself, Joe, $1.60 above Scotty Scheffler. He went for $9.88. Did not get to JT's number from last year. He did beat his own fair value, but Rahm, it's basically asking Rahm to finish top 5.
Yep. Top 5 in a 20-man field. I like his chances.
Gap from Scotty, who was under his fair value, to the next tier, which is Finau and Thomas. That's about 75 cents. Tony at 750, JT at 728. It's a pretty good price on JT. You got to avoid the like 4-way tie.
Yeah, exactly.
You got such a bad pre-rank.
You have to avoid it. But I think pre-ranks aside, I think that the market got the next 3 players right. Finau, Thomas, Xander. I think that's correct.
Xander and Fitzpatrick were $6.99. Victor at $6.50, which was $1.08 short of his fair value. So that is going to ask him at $6.50 to finish 7th or better. That's kind of interesting. And then a kind of a big gap to like everybody else. The $5 tier was packed. It was Fleetwood, Sungjae, Tom Kim, Morikawa, Burns. I cannot believe 556, Homa, Lowry, and Spieth. So that's where like everybody else was, Joe.
Yep. It looks like Straka was lowest at 266, which is going to need him to finish 12th or better to pay that off. Kisner essentially the same thing at 276.
And
11th or better, excuse me.
And not a lot of downside, I guess.
Yeah, not exactly. Yeah, not a ton of downside, $1.76. And if he somehow crawls into the top 5, $10 per share, you can almost 4x that.
I could see Corey Connors at $4. So 486 is asking Connors to finish like top. I was going to say top 10, like 9th or better. So the top half of the field. Interesting.
Yeah, Horschel's a good price too at 455. I think that he's the 3rd lowest, if I have that correct. Yeah, that's an interesting one also.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you are more so than most weeks, I think, with this contest. So like what's interesting about the contest is normally you'd be looking at your portfolio and saying, okay, like, hey, I can cut my losses here, or I can hold, or I can do whatever. But if you're looking at the contest and you're seeing yourself outside the money, you might say, hey, I'm going to try to put my foot on the pedal, right? I'm going to try to make some moves. There is a lot more interesting strategy, I believe, in the contest.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great point to kind of bring up because in the IPO where I could be content taking a small profit and a win on the week, I don't want to finish 7th in the contest. So if I'm hovering around there, but my portfolio is profitable, you may have to take some chances and like dump some good shares and try to pick up someone in like the 9th or 10th position and hope that they can make a Sunday run to sort of vault you up that leaderboard. So, yeah, a ton of interesting strategy there. It'll be fun to see how it plays out.
Next handful of weeks, we're probably going to take a couple weeks off, Joe, but we're going to probably get creative, try to revamp some stuff, get some new graphics, get some new visuals, kind of do all that fun stuff in the off season. But Jock Market is cooking, right? Like, we only talk about golf, but I'm seeing a ton of markets in NFL and NBA and like everything under the sun. So while we won't be having like the traditional golf power hours, like there's still plenty of other stuff happening.
Yeah, I was just looking there. They have NBA open right now. They have daily markets. They have main markets. They have NFL for Thursday night, tomorrow night. They also have these sort of the contests in for NFL. They have a $20 contest with $360 in prizes. They have a $100 contest. So just tons of places that are open right now, different sports to continue to play. And I think it's a great idea to sort of get things going for the off season. And then we'll see in a couple weeks. It's not a long one in golf.
It goes fast. It feels like a lot. It's not. This is the time of year with holidays. Everything goes very fast. Like, yeah, it's going to be a blink of an eye before we're in Maui for the Tournament of Champions. Follow Joe on Twitter. It's at TorPicks. You can follow me at RickRunGood. This has been your Jock Market Power Hour for this week's Hero World Challenge. Good luck.